My only other point on this is, Donovan is at least supposed to come back to the Galaxy, but I watched Liverpool play over the weekend, and Stewart Downing on Liverpool, he's just not, they paid, I don't even know what it is. It's like $30 million for this guy, all right? They could have probably invested $15 million, half of that, Liverpool, and gotten Landon Donovan. And you know what? Proven it. He's been playing so well in the EPL, and, the only reason Stewart Downing is on Liverpool, or they signed him, is because he was on the English national team, and he's not that good. He's just not that good. I'm sorry. He sucked in that game. He sucked all season, and for half the money, somebody you would think would have the brains, if they're going to spend that kind of money, to go out and say, you know what, Landon Donovan, whenever he seems to show up in the EPL, he kicks ass. He provides great assists. He's an awesome winger. We could get rid of this slouch named Stewart Downing and put in a guy who can really actually produce, named Landon Donovan. I don't know. To me, just ridiculous.
Yeah. It's funny because I know I don't want to sound like I'm just hyping up, U.S. players or something like that. But
that's my job.
You're proving a point. You're proving a point there.
Yeah.
He has gone to EPL twice now on loan, and he's done extremely well on both sessions.
Yep.
He's done really well at the international level.
Yep.
I am unbelievably surprised. I know he's 27, 28 right now.
Yeah, Stewart Downing's 27.
Oh, yeah, and I'm just saying, I'm so surprised that none of the bigger teams have splashed money. I know he's going to be carrying a big price tag. He's going to be like $8 million plus.
That's
then
nothing.
Again, that's exactly. It's $8 million plus. You're getting a player who obviously contend with EPL players and actually excel.
Right.
And this season he's already got at least a couple to a handful of assists.
Man of the
that have
match.
helped Everton, man of the match performances.
Yep.
It's surprising that nobody's picked him up.
Damn.
And I know the price tag could be scary for some of the smaller teams, not even saying smaller teams like Everton. I'm referring to more of their pockets.
Yep.
It's rather shallow.
Right.
Compared to, say, Liverpool, who's thrown massive amounts of money on players who completely flopped this season.
Exactly.
So,
and you know what?
Surprising.
And Manchester United and Manchester City, they don't need Landon Donovan, right? But a team on the fringe like Liverpool, who's fighting hard, they don't need slackers and poor play from a guy like Stewart Downing. They would have gotten much more bang for their buck if they would have dropped half that cash for a guy like Landon Donovan. And you know what? I guarantee you, David Moyes from Everton, he would chop his left ball off and hand it to you if he could keep Landon Donovan. But they're just not going to spend $8-10 million on Landon Donovan, and it's very questionable whether LA would even take that kind of money for Landon Donovan. They're probably looking for something even higher than that. And even so, let's say it's 12 or 14. That's still a lot less money than they paid for Andy Carroll, that is Liverpool, and Stewart Downing. Two guys who have produced absolutely dog dirt nothing this season for Liverpool. It's just a damn shame to see them waste so much money when they could have had something at a much cheaper price that probably would have performed a whole lot better. Just me saying. You have more on that?
No.
No? All right. God, I think
we pretty much covered it.
Just going off today. Yeah. All right. And I have a rant as well because I was watching the Fulham and Man City game this weekend, right? And this moron, I shouldn't even say he's a moron because I might be friends with him because I don't know who it is. Through the grapevine, somebody may know him, and there may be a friend of mine, and they may be a friend of him. And then, people are going to get pissed off. But the fact is, there was a color commentator during the Fulham Man City game who basically said the following. Now that Fulham have lost Bobby Zamora, Fulham are doomed. They have no aerial threat in the middle. They're just completely, this whole season, they might as well piss it into the pot. It's just ridiculous. How does a guy like that get a job calling a game for the English Premier League on Fox Soccer Channel? I know they're just, he's not, doesn't work for Fox. He works for somebody in England, and of course they're just, buzzing the game through the wires into our cable system and into our TVs. But this guy's a complete idiot. First of all, First of all, Bobby Zamora is not an aerial threat, number one. And number two, Clint Dempsey and Hagelin are the main aerial threats on any corner or any set piece that happens, and have been the main threats for that team for numbers and numbers of years. In fact, they're scoring. Dempsey's scoring all the goals. I don't know what this guy is watching. I don't know his name. I want to find it out so I can send him a personal message to let him know how big of an idiot he is. And I'll apologize to him later if for some reason I know him through others. How's that?
He may apologize, but I don't know if he'll accept.
He may not after this.
Although he might accept just strictly on the fact that he was unbelievably wrong.
God, what an ignoramus. I mean, sometimes I think, there are certain color guys that cover games, and most of them are pretty good when it comes to being at least somewhat knowledgeable about each team. And this guy sounds like he was thrown into this game, and he may have known something about the other team, but he didn't know jack about, Fulham. And, Bobby Zamora is a great player. He's going to go on. He's going to do great things for QPR, but let's not just make shit up, while the game's going on. Speaking of commercials, how about that Beckham Undies commercial, Brett? Did you catch that?
Yes, I did. Clearly, the networks have been paying attention to D-Rex YouTube links.
You think so?
And figure out, hey, that video over Beckham's bulge is apparently drawn a number of hits. We should probably replicate that in a Super Bowl commercial.
But they avoided the Beckham bulge, Brett. You noticed that?
They scanned across every other part of his body.
But not the bulge. And you know why? Because it create a massive inferiority complex for men across the country, right?
Yeah, maybe. I guess they didn't have a tube sock. I don't know.
Well, you're saying he stuffs it. He stuffs it then.
Go ahead.
I think that's what D-Rec asked Beckham. Is there a sock thing happening there, right? And he says no.
Commercial got a very mixed result from all the females that are at my party.
Really? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Mixed?
Some girls are like, oh my God, it's Beckham. And other girls were like, I'm not too fond of Beckham.
Why?
They don't find him attractive, I guess. Maybe it's all the tattoos, or maybe...
the tattoos aren't good. The tattoos aren't good. I agree.
At least one girl mentioned that, so I don't know. But, yeah.
The tattoos, too many tattoos on Beckham. He needed to give that up at some point. Because you can hardly see the guy's body. Listen, I'm not that way. I'm a married guy. But I got to tell you, he's a fairly good-looking human being. But... the big controversy that came out was Roland Martin on CNN tweeted, and he said, if there's any dude at your Super Bowl party that likes the Beckham mag, then he said, smack the out of him. Smack the ish out of him. I don't know what ish is. Is that like a new cool word to say? Smack the ish out of him? And then a lot of people came on and said, oh my God, Martin, are you being anti-gay? And Martin came back, but I do not like what he said here. Martin tried to defend himself by saying he was ripping soccer, not calling for gay bashing. What do you think about that, Brett?
I didn't say anything to that. I think you pretty much just capped it all off.
What? I did?
What an idiotic comment. What an idiotic rebuttal as to why he said it.
Yeah.
You probably offended quite a few people with your first comment, but you also offended a number of people with your second comment, or at least enough to where people are going to stop paying attention to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, MLS isn't the biggest league in the world. U.S. soccer doesn't have the biggest following, but guess what?
Yeah.
There are a large number of soccer fans here in the U.S. Because you know what? You go to any friendly in the U.S., any U.S. friendly that's played at home, and you will find that the U.S. fans are sorely outnumbered.
Yeah.
Or at least break even on some things. But there are a large number of fans that are not picked up by MLS, are not picked up by U.S. soccer. They they don't follow it because they followed their previous country's leagues or country national team.
Yeah.
There's a large population that you're just offending by saying that. I mean, just this big.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean,
it's a stupid comment. He should have just kept his mouth shut.
I mean, he's back in the dark ages when it was okay to bend soccer over and take it to town. You know, just totally make fun of it, and he's totally off base here.
That description right there just really played along with his initial comment.
Yeah, I guess so. Speaking of commercials, there was the other commercial. This came after the Super Bowl. Did you see this? The Golden Corral commercial, where it says, with the chocolate waterfall, and it says in the commercial you can dip anything into it. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
What did you think? Oh, you haven't? How can you?
I didn't see it. No.
How can you possibly have not seen the chocolate waterfall commercial for Golden Corral? It's their big thing now. You go to the Golden Corral, you can, take a stick and stick it into a strawberry and hold it under the waterfall and make chocolate on it and then eat it, right? But then the commercial says you could dip anything into it. How long is that going to last before some guy comes in and pays his, $8 that he's scrounged up in quarters? And then, sticks what into the chocolate, right?
Or just a giant smartass. Or that homeless guy.
Or whatever drunk guy shows up there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You do not tell people you can dip anything into your chocolate. You specifically tell them you can dip the food that they're serving into the chocolate. Not anything.
It's like that old Tire Barn commercial or whatever it was where the old lady came back. It's like, if you don't like our tires, you can return them, and she chucks it through the window.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people actually chuck those tires through the window.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you're making commercials. You cannot be ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, there are rumors going about, and they're true, that we might have Slash here. Slash, the guitarist from what are they, Guns N' Roses, on the show. He's a big soccer fan, apparently.
Good shit.
And we're working on ways to get him on the show. And if we don't, hey, sue us. But that's the rumor, and it's actually true. Slash is a soccer fan. That's true. And number two, do we usually have celebrities on this show? Didn't Kyle Martino try that on Fox Soccer Channel? Brett, didn't he?
I don't know. I never watched the show.
Nor did anyone else. That's why it
failed.
Sorry, Kyle. Yeah, sorry, Kyle. We love you, guy, but that show just did not work out. So, we're not going to make that a trend. We're not going to have a bunch of celebrities on the show because, frankly, Brett and I don't know any celebrities, right?
We don't have quite that pull in Hollywood yet. We're working on it.
We're working on it. All right. Well, so things to look forward to in the future on this show is Slash on TSRC. Other than that, that's it for tonight, and we'll see you down the road. Take care.